All right, hey guys, Tin Marine here with another weapons video for you today, talking about the Springfield 1903 or M1903, I guess, and to give you guys a little once over of the rifle, I'll hand it over to Paul.
Thanks. What's up, guys? Paul from Weapons of the World. Today we're talking about the M1903 Springfield, very famously used by Marines during World War II and even the beginning of World War II, or World War One, excuse me. Uh, some basic characteristics. Caliber is 30-06. Originally it was designed in 30-03. Um, but the difference between the two is the 30-06 was a pointed bullet, while the 30-03 was a rounded, soft-tip bullet. Didn't perform as well ballistically, so they switched over to the now famous 30-06.
Oh yeah, didn't know that.
Yeah, it's actually a really interesting history of cartridges and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy how stuff could have actually changed. Like with the M1 and the 273 or 276. I
Yeah.
can't remember. Uh, Anyways, it fed from a 5-round internal box magazine, so you'd load up 5 rounds inside. There's no detachable magazine or ejecting clip like with the M1. It's bolt action based off the Mauser design. In fact, it was so heavily influenced by the Mauser uh, bolt that Mauser actually sued Springfield in the United States because of them basically copying it exactly. But you
Awesome.
can't really blame them. Like, the Mauser action has been the best bolt action system forever. They still use it today in hunting rifles. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
solid, reliable system. You can't really blame the Americans, I guess. The effective range is about 1,000 meters or about 1,000 yards. Probably actually a little more. I'm sure you know this. Marines in Belleau Wood were
Mm-hmm.
shooting Germans at 800 to 1,000 yards, just knocking them down with
Yep.
the 1903, which is that's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, having no real problems with it.
Oh yeah, no, it is a highly accurate rifle, very accurate. And in fact, in my opinion, I'm sure I'm gonna get hate for this, much more accurate than any bolt action during the 1900s, World War One and Two. I think the only thing that could really compare to it was probably the German Mauser, be it the Car 98 or Car 98K, both of which it came up against. But in my opinion, I think it was absolutely more accurate than any other bolt action during that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that from what I've read.
Yeah. Well, that's why they also used it with sniper rifles too. They threw on scopes and gave it to people, and they used it to very good effect.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
like even without a scope at Belleau Wood, like, being able to even see somebody at 1,000 yards, let alone shoot someone at 1,000 yards, that's extremely impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely could not do that shot. I know that for a fact. It'd take me forever, probably to even just see a person at 1,000 yards.
Yeah, I mean, in the Marine Corps, you qualify at the 500 yards
Mm-hmm.
range with your rifle, and even from there, like you're laying in the prone, like when you
Mm-hmm.
take your 10 shots, but it is hard as hell to see that target. To see the actual, because it's a man-shaped target at that range, and it's tough to see. And then you double that distance, and you're trying to look at that. When I went in, I just used iron sights, so you're trying to see that 1,000 yards out, and you could barely fucking see the guy with no optics whatsoever.
Yeah, and then you have to hit the person. It's
And
just
then,
like that's crazy.
yep, taking into account wind and any elevation changes, all that. Like
Oh
it's
yeah,
impressive. People were able to do that.
yeah. I think the Germans were uh, saying that their guys would just drop dead before they even heard the gunshot. That's how far away they were.
Yeah.
Like, the bullet would actually hit them before the report of the rifle going off would hit their ears.
Yep.
That's crazy to think about.
Yep. Because the bullets generally they do travel faster than sound. So,
Yeah.
yep. What's like this isn't related to rifles, but Marines in Afghanistan were in my battalion were killing killing Taliban rather with their howitzers, and the rounds were hitting and killing these guys before they had any idea. They couldn't even hear the guns. Like the forward observers that were calling in the fire, all of a sudden the rounds would hit and they didn't. They heard the guns another 30 seconds later.
Wow.
Go
Shoot,
off.
that
And,
must have been like 10, 15 miles at least.
yeah, they were shooting. Yeah, one of the ones I'm thinking of, they were shooting for just under 20 miles out, and then a Pendleton battery. They have the current Marine Corps record of killing an enemy from just under 21 miles out with our 777s. And yeah, so it's kind of crazy to think that you could all of a sudden, be shot or be dead before you even hear what the hell it is that went off to get you.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's why they have the saying, you never hear the one that gets you.
Yep.
Something like that. So.
Yep.
Yeah, so anyways, I guess we kind of got off track there.
We always do.
So, yeah, the Springfield 1903 served American troops, both Army and Marine Corps, at least for the Army, through World War I until the M1 came around, and World War II came around. The Army bought every M1 that they could possibly get their hands on, so the Marines were left with the dated 1903, but they were still kicking butt. Like, I've seen footage of Marines running around on Iwo Jima still with 1903s, even though they were beginning to get issued M1 rifles at that time.
Yeah, the vast majority of them by Iwo Jima had the M1s, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. But it's just like, and even before that even started, they were storming beaches and taking out bunkers with bolt-action 1903 Springfields.
Uh-huh.
So even though the Japanese and everyone else had bolt-action rifles at that time, it's kind of crazy to think that even though we had the capability of, with the M1 Garand, the Army just bought them all up. The Marines were stuck with nothing but 1903s, and they still kicked butt.
And that's how it works today too. Marine Corps always gets stuff secondhand.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the fact those guys were able to use the 1903 as effectively as they did, considering the fighting they were going against, is impressive.
Yeah, very close range in the, when an island's only about 3 miles wide and 2 miles long, it's
Yeah.
it's all pretty close range stuff, especially if you're going through the jungle. And again, having a bolt-action rifle in that situation is not ideal. You'd do much better with a semi-auto or an SMG. But that brings up a whole other conversation with the effectiveness of a Thompson submachine gun. But
Yeah.
another video, another day.
Yeah. Well, it does make you wonder if the Japanese had a solid semi-automatic rifle, how would things have changed, considering at the beginning most of the Marines were using, the 1903s.
Yeah. Hell, I think if they would have just had a solid rifle to begin with, I think it would have done them nicely. Japanese weapons have never been like the most, I guess, effective and well designed and well thought out weapons. Maybe like the Arisaka 38. It's probably like the best weapon they had during that time. The Nambu was unsafe to use and not very reliable at all. I've seen those things go off with no one touching the trigger. You could just hit the back of them and they would fire.
And
So,
really?
oh yeah, super unsafe. So like their weapons have never been the very best. So I imagine them making a semi-auto would be even kind of worse, especially seeing how even the Germans with the G43 and G44, both of those weapons were not very good, and they had a problem where they would literally explode, and that's believe it or not good. So
You're crazy. Of course, that's good, right? That's what you want, your rifle exploding on you.
Yeah, well, I guess if the enemy captures it, and they start using it against you, you have a pretty good chance of them just killing themselves.
I'm just reading here on that lawsuit that Mauser did against Springfield, and I guess Springfield was forced to pay Mauser $250,000 back in 1903, 1904, somewhere in there. And it's like, at that time, $250,000.
That's a massive amount of money. I wonder what inflation would. That'd probably be several $1 million.
Oh, easily. It'd probably be upwards of $15-20 million.
Probably, I think so. Shoot, I mean, like, Springfield made 1,300,000 plus of them easily.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's not a surprise that the Germans caught wind of this thing. Yeah. But
Have,
again, you honestly can't blame them for using the Mauser design. It effective, very, very solid locking in the breech.
mm-hmm.
So you didn't have the possibility of the bolt exploding and shearing off the locking lugs and
Yep.
just hitting you in the face, or just basically shooting yourself with a metal block of metal. Again, not fun.
Yeah, I don't want a block of metal hitting me in the face.
No.
I'd prefer to
So
avoid
like,
that.
I honestly can't blame them for copying the design. They basically just copied the design. I can't really think of anything at the moment that they didn't
That's probably the best way to do it, or
use.
to word it.
Yeah, and especially with the gun that was replacing, the Krag Jorgensen. I can never pronounce that right. But that was another bolt-action rifle. That was honestly a piece of crap. It
Oh, yeah.
it
Yeah.
was just slow to load, slow to fire, and it was just absolutely outclassed by the German Mauser, which is what it was going against during the Spanish-American War. And so many of our guys got killed because of the piece of crap rifle that they were issued, because the government felt that if we gave troops guns that could fire fast, like the rate of fire with the 1903 is about 10 to 20 rounds accurately,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
they would feel that the troops would just shoot all that ammo off in a few minutes. So they gave them a Krag Jorgensen, which is just a crappy gun. It was slow and heavy.
Yeah.
Luckily, we didn't go into World War One with that.
Oh, yeah. That would have been horrendous.
Very much
Having
so.
that be our rifle. Ugh. Have you seen this, the Elder type periscope that some of these guys used for the
Is
trench
that
warfare?
the super long one?
No, it's a device that they use where they pull the trigger off the rifle and moved it down lower, and they had a scope up above, and it basically allowed them to,
For the trenches.
yeah, for the trench fighting
No,
there.
I've never seen that. I've seen like German-made versions of something like that, but I've never seen that particular device. But that's I'm looking it up right now. That's
Yeah, I'll send you the link real quick. Hold on. Yeah, it's ingenious. Like, I do wonder. I'd like to look up and see how effective this was. Where are you at? Here we go.
it's one of those ones where it's like attached to like a mirror and all that, and they could peep over the trench, right? Those kinds.
Well, yeah, look at the picture I just sent you there. It's got the rifle attached to this weird-ass contraption. The trigger and where you would actually look is down below.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
I've never actually done any research into those types of devices, but I mean, I guess in theory they'd work fine. You're setting your rifle down and just looking through the sights.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the scope's, on the back there is mounted properly, I
I
suppose.
mean, you're definitely not going to be moving anywhere with that thing.
No.
It looks like it weighs a ton.
Yeah, I wonder how quickly they could get that thing out of it if they had to.
It looks like it clamps down on the front end.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty cool box magazine too.
Yeah, 25 rounds according to the
I wonder if they just kept the box magazine on and just like used that instead. Don't see why not, unless it was unreliable. Again, I haven't done too much research actually into this, but
yeah, something kind of cool to think about. It's pretty crazy.
yeah. Oh, speaking of like different variations on the 1903, they used
Yeah.
all sorts from sniper rifles. They even attached grenade launchers to the end of them.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they use I shouldn't say grenade launcher. I should say a rifle grenade.
Rifle
where they,
grenades, yeah.
Yeah, insert a blank and fire that off. Oh, and they even made a bullpup version of it for the Marine Corps. It was experimental. It didn't go anywhere, but it's just kind of interesting to think of a bolt-action bullpup.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy just the variety of stuff that they try.
Mm-hmm.
Here.
Not only, and there's like the Springfield 1903 A1, A2, A3, A4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at the A4 here.
I think we were using the A4 during Vietnam with the sniper scope. I know we were using those. They were still in the stockpile during Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
So we were using those, and generally speaking, it was sniper rifles were always just like the standard infantryman's rifle with just a scope slapped on it. So
Basically,
Vietnam was the first time anyone actually ever built
an actual
sniper rifle.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, because I mean, World War II is really the first time that snipers kind of really took effect.
Yeah.
And then to the point where they became their full thing, at least in the Marine Corps, to where they actually had full-on snipers was Vietnam, and that's big thanks to Carlos Hathcock and fucking his
kind of funny,
badassness.
During every war, we'd be using snipers, but afterwards we'd get rid of every sniper and throw away all the books, and just basically every war would be starting over from scratch until Vietnam, where we actually set up a scout sniper school, and I think even then it was only like a 2 or 3 day course. Where they just talked about stuff.
Well, that's when they got Carlos Hathcock involved, and he kind of laid down like the law and like all the rules and everything on that, because until Chris Kyle, he had the most kills.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think Carlos had like, what, 93?
93, yeah, somewhere in there. And even Chris Kyle, before he died, he said that Hathcock was by far the better shot. He goes, I just had better technology, better weapons in general, which is why I was able to get more kills. He goes, but, by far Hathcock is the better shot.
Yeah. Oh, man, we've gone so down the rabbit hole, just going down, starting from the 1903, now we're on Carlos Hathcock. People are going to be wondering what the heck we're even talking about at this point.
What is this video on?
More video ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot.
Awesome. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up on the 1903 Springfield, since we've spent like 2 minutes actually talking about it, and the other time just talking about other random crap.
Well, it did cover most of it. I mean, it was used in World War I and World War II and at the beginning of Vietnam, and it was used mainly as a battle rifle, but then was kind of converted towards the end into the sniper. Yep. And
something it did very well, if I might add.
Are you able to buy them these days? Are they pretty hard to find?
Yes.
Do you know?
I was actually down at a local kind of sporting good store.
Sure.
And I actually saw a A4 variant, I believe. It was only $1,300. So you can find them, and they're relatively inexpensive compared to guns, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, that's not horrible considering the last one produced was 1949.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're old weapons.
It's really the ammo that gets you. 30-06 is freaking expensive.
It's pricey, yep.
It is.
Yep.
Hopefully. But the rifles themselves aren't extremely hard to find.
I'd pay $1,300 for one of these. I'd prefer an older one just because I like getting closer to the original, date on that. But that's cool. You can still find them. I didn't know that. Well, yeah. Do you have anything else?
No, I think that kind of covers that.
All right. Well, appreciate it, guys. And we'll catch the next one. Hey, guys. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. All the links that you need to get in contact with me are down below. Facebook being the best one to contact me. I'm on my phone all the time, so it's just easiest for me to be able to get back to you with your variety of questions that you guys have. And yeah, if you need anything, by all means, hit me up. So please hit that subscribe button so you can keep in tune with future videos. And I'll see you later. Peace.